Okay friends, let's meet yourself now. We are starting. So today we are taking up carrier's legal liability product. This is in fact not very much related to your vertical especially because this is a retail product. But if at all any broker or any logistic firm is approaching to you for this product, you must have the basic knowledge. We are the late entrants in this product, but this is one of the best products so far. Reason being, most logistic firms, carrier firms, transport firms are buying it. And without this product, their even survival is very difficult. So let us see what this product is. Is it visible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Good.
Yes, sir.
So the name of the product is Carrier's Legal Liability Insurance. Now before we start, let's understand, if you or me or everybody or anybody is sending anything from one place to another place, first of all we have to find the ways how we can send it. The goods or commodity or cargo could be anything. How to send? So first of all we used to determine, should we send it by waterways? If they are selecting waterways, that means the goods will go by ship, by steamer, boat or any kind of hull. Hull means any machinery lying in the water route. If we are selecting the waterways, is possible only where port is there, because it will go port to port. Then the second thing is airways. If we are sending anything by airways, that means goods will go by cargo carrier, helicopter or any air device. Even drones are supplying nowadays the goods. Third one is railways. Railway is the biggest transporter today, because the goods train specifically designed for carrying the goods are running across the country and carrying the tons of loads every day. Or any other specific train can be designed according to the goods or cargo or merchandise. Say for example, petrol, gas, diesels. So tanker kind of bogies could be there. But the most useful, most common or most popular method is roadways. Roadways means by road route, if any cargo is sent from one place to another place, this will go by GCCV. That GCCV means goods carrying commercial vehicle. So this goods carrying commercial vehicle could be a light commercial vehicle, a medium commercial vehicle or a heavy commercial vehicle, and even specifically designed GCCVs, for example tanker, refrigerated vehicle, open body, closed body. These are all carrying the goods and they are used as the GCC. So we are concerned with our carrier's legal liability insurance policy, and this policy is applicable only to roadways only. So vehicles plying on road route, they all belongs to the transporters, to the carriers, to the logistic firms who are using these vehicles for carrying the goods. So the purpose or the object is very clear. This carrier's legal liability policy is meant for those transporters who are sending goods from one place to another place through their GCCVs by the road route. Simple. Now, why this carrier's legal liability insurance policy is required? See, the movement of goods or cargo or merchandise, they are used in similar terms. From one place to another place creates a risk. Risk during the entire transit. Anything can happen. Loss, damage, fire, theft, accident, anything can happen. So not only the vehicle, the entire cargo can also be damaged. And if the goods is damaged in transit, the owner of the goods will definitely claim from the transporter firm. Why? Because he has paid the freight for it. If I am sending my 2 washing machines, 2 fridges, 2 coolers from Jaipur to Mumbai through any transporter, any of these machineries is damaged during the transit, I've got a legal right to claim the compensation from the transporter because I have paid the freight for this purpose. And the transporter has charged the freight only for this reason that he will safely carry the goods or items and deliver to the desired place. So I have got a legal right to claim the compensation if at all there is any loss or damage. Another situation is, suppose I have taken an insurance policy and then I am sending the goods through the transporter. That is also possible because I have taken the insurance policy for transit risk. But still the goods will go by transporter only. And while carrying the goods through the transportation or the transported vehicle, my goods got damaged. Under such a situation, I have got 2 options. Either to claim the compensation from the transporter or from the insurer. Now, since I have taken an insurance policy, my first right is to claim it from the insurance company. Insurance company will definitely pay my claim for the genuine loss. No doubt the loss is there. But after payment of claim, insurance company will get a subrogation letter from me. And that subrogation letter will be a document whereby I have transferred all my right and remedies to the insurance company. What the insurance company will do of it? On this subrogation letter, on behalf of this subrogation letter, insurance company will claim the compensation whatever they have paid to me from the transporter firm who are actually responsible to cause loss or damage to my goods. So the ultimate responsibility of the transporter firm is to pay the compensation either to the owner of the goods or to the insurer of the goods. Under both the circumstances, the transporter firm is liable to pay the compensation to either of them. That means transporter cannot escape the liability. Transporter is ultimately liable to pay the compensation. And if this sort of events are taking place regularly, maybe on daily basis, if not daily, frequently, number of times in a year, in that case, this is also possible that the transporter has paid the loss or compensation more than what he has actually earned in the total complete 1 year. So in such a situation, how he will survive? That is the reason every carrier firm, transporter firm or logistic firm takes this policy, because this is the only policy which comes for their rescue, takes this policy and transfer this biggest liability on the insurance company, and this is the best method of risk management. Whatever is the bigger or biggest liability, you just transfer this to the insurance company in lieu of certain amount of premium. So thus carriers legal liability insurance policy is required by all transporters, carriers and logistic firms, though this is not mandatory by virtue of any law. But this is necessary because of their trade requirement. Now who can buy this policy? Obviously transporters, carriers, logistic firms, because they are the only firms dealing in transporting the goods from one place to another place. The question is, they may have their own vehicles as well as the hired vehicles. Try to understand this point. This is a very good point. Reason being, suppose I am running a transport firm in Jaipur Balaji Golden Transport. My turnover for 1 year is 3 crores. But I have 20 GCCB, 20 trucks to carry the goods. I feel I am short of 10 trucks. But I don't want to invest further money in buying more trucks. What is the option available with me? I'll hire 10 trucks and pay the fees. So my 20 trucks are already there with me. If I am hiring 10 more trucks, 30 trucks are enough to carry my total turnover in a year. That means the owned vehicles as well as hired vehicles, both are subject of carrier's legal liability insurance policy. The important feature of this policy is this carrier's legal liability policy of the road carriers covers the actual physical loss or damage to goods or merchandise or cargo, while such goods or merchandise is carried from one place to another place. Try to understand this point. This policy covers only loss or damage to cargo and to nothing. If there is any damage or loss to the goods, then only this policy will pay the compensation. If there is any other loss to the carrier firm, to his vehicles, to his profit or loss, nothing doing. This will cover the risk of those goods or cargo which were transported through their vehicles. Now, what is the scope of cover of this policy? This policy covers the liability by fire, explosion or accidents. These are the 3 common factors which are frequently taking place: fire, explosion and accidents. All of you have to go on mute, please. In addition, negligence. Whose negligence? Negligence of insured means carrier firm. Negligence or criminal act of employees of the carrier firm, his representatives, his servants. Servants may be loaders and unloaders. So this negligence is also covered. So the fire, explosion, accident and negligence are the basic coverage of the policy. 2 extra risks are insurable on extra premium. Means they are the add-on covers of this policy. And these are road strikes and terror. Add-on cover means a risk which is not inbuilt part of the basic policy. This is an additional risk and extra risk. So to cover this risk, additional or extra premium is charged. Any company may have any number of add-on covers. All these add-on covers are voluntary, optional, none of them is mandatory. So this is the option of the insured. If you want, you can take all add-on covers, you can take one or two or none. This is as per the choice of the insured. But the inbuilt coverage, which is covering the risk from the fire, explosion, accident or negligence, will always remain continued throughout the policy period during the currency period from day one to the expiry date. Because this is the basic coverage of the policy. This comes under the scope of the cover of this policy. Now, let us see the key considerations of this policy. First of all, this policy can be given for 1 year only. Maybe for a shorter period, but not a longer period. Every year, this policy is renewable. Carrier must be a reputed firm who is already engaged in transportation business. Subject vehicles must be comprehensively insured. This is precondition of this policy, that all the vehicles owned by the transporter firm must be comprehensively insured by a motor policy which is covering the third party risk, own damage risk as well as PA risk of the vehicle owner cum driver. Though the third party risk is covered by the third party policy also, but this is our prerequisite, that whatever vehicles the transporter firm is having, they all must be comprehensively insured with a package policy. Why? Because we are not covering the risk of motor vehicles under this policy. This carrier's legal liability policy is not to protect the vehicles. No, nothing to do. That protection is available only in the motor insurance policy. That motor insurance policy is governed by the India Motor Tariff. That policy is governed by the Motor Vehicle Act 1988. So all the provisions of the tariff as well as the Motor Vehicle Act 1988 will apply on that policy. That will cover the motor risks. Under this carrier's legal liability policy, only the risk of goods, commodities or cargo is insured. So let us be very clear. Don't get confused that this policy is covering the owned vehicles also, the hired vehicles also. Yes, of course this is covering, but not for the own damage risk, not for the third party risk. Only for the risk whatever goods they are carrying. If that goods is damaged, then only the policy will get the compensation. So this is the prerequisite of this policy, that all the vehicles owned or hired by the transporter firm must be insured under the package insurance policy throughout the policy period of carrier's legal liability. If at all any package policy of any of his vehicle expired during the policy period of CLL, in that case he has to immediately renew it. Here comes an important question, that the vehicles owned by the transporter can be easily insured through a package policy. But the vehicles hired by him, maybe 1 or 2 or 10 or 20 or 100, whatever number it is, vehicles hired by him cannot be insured by the transporter firm in his own name. Why? Because this is a simple reason. If you are owning a car, you are the registered owner of that car, I am using your car since last 3 years, still I have got no right to get the policy in my name, because I am not the registered owner. The policy will always be issued in the name of registered owner only, in motor insurance case. So the hired vehicles, only this is applicable to hired vehicles. So for all those hired vehicles, the respective owners of those vehicles will take the package policy and they will submit a copy to the transporter firm. That is a sufficient proof that the hired vehicles are also comprehensively insured throughout the policy period. Because under any circumstances, if there is any loss to any vehicle, which is not comprehensively insured, so neither the insurer of the motor vehicle policy will pay any claim to the vehicle, nor the carrier's legal liability insurance policy will pay any claim. So this funda is very important here. Now the subject vehicle must be roadworthy condition, in a roadworthy condition. You know, the roadworthy condition in vehicles, especially in commercial vehicles, is determined by a fitness certificate, which is issued by the RTO. Roadworthy condition does not mean you are saying the vehicle is in good condition. No, nothing to do. Whether you have got the fitness certificate issued by RTO or not, that is the sufficient proof of roadworthy condition. Fleet policy can be issued under a carrier's legal liability insurance policy. See, transporters who are engaged in this profession, maybe new firm or old firm, they are having number of vehicles to carry the goods. It all depends upon their turnover. So, if the one firm is having only 1 or 2 vehicles, he will prefer to take a single policy. But a firm is having 20 vehicles, 50 vehicles, 100 vehicles, 500 vehicles. To ensure all those number of vehicles under one policy, a fleet policy will be issued. And this fleet policy will cover the risk of owned vehicles as well as hired by the insured. The vehicles hired by insured will also be part of this policy. So normally, carrier's legal liability policy is issued as a fleet policy. Maintenance of proper record or logbook for each vehicle is required. Not at the time of insurance, but at the time of claim it is required, because in transportation business, 2 specific documents are regularly maintained. This is logbook and consignment note. Logbook provides the detail of the vehicle, which vehicle has gone on what date, at what place, with what car. This entry will always be there in the logbook. Consignment note will provide the detail of the goods carried by that vehicle. So these 2 documents are always maintained by all the transport firms regarding their vehicles and the goods transported by them. And these 2 documents are always required by the insurance companies while settling the claim. Minimum premium of this policy is 500 rupees plus GST. So let me repeat again, this policy is for 1 year only. All the vehicles insured under this policy must be comprehensively insured under a motor vehicle policy. All the GCCBs must have roadworthy condition certificate, that is fitness certificate. Fleet policy can be issued for all these vehicles used by the transporter firm, covering all owned or hired vehicles. Transporter must maintain logbook as well as the consignment note, and the minimum premium of the policy is only 500 plus GST. Now, one important aspect of this policy is what would be the cover duration of this policy. This cover duration is important from the transporter's point of view, or you can say from the insurer's point of view. Because normally we have seen at times when the truck is going fully loaded from one place to another place, say from Jaipur to Hyderabad. When it has reached to Hyderabad, another transporter where the goods will be unloaded in his stocks, and he finds that his stock has no place. There is no empty place in that go down. It may take 1 or 2 days or 3 days or 6 days. In that case, the vehicle cannot be unloaded. And during that period, if there is any loss or damage, whether the insurance policy will cover it or not, that is an important question. So the transporter firm will always look for this comfort, that if at all under any circumstances the goods is not unloaded at the point of discharge, you will provide us a few days, and during those days you will cover the risk also. Yes, this we have considered, and we have also the provision of extending this coverage for 3 days. That means this policy starts from the point of origin. There are 2 points. 2 points means where from the journey will start, that is called point of origin. Where will the vehicle go, that is point of discharge. So when the risk will start from the point of origin, at what time? With loading. Means with loading at the point of discharge. Suppose the vehicle has to go from Jaipur to Ahmedabad. Now Jaipur is the point of origin, and here the goods is loaded in the time. From that time only, the policy will cover the liability. Because even in loading operations, there could be loss or damage. That risk is also covered. So that means commencement of cover will start from place of origin with the loading of cargo in the vehicle. And throughout the journey period it will cover. And it will end at the final destination. That is point of discharge. So when it has reached to Ahmedabad, the risk coverage should end. But no. Even at point of discharge, if the goods is unloaded and given safely, the risk is over. But if it is not unloaded, it takes 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, our policy will still cover the risk. Means until the same is unloaded at the point of discharge or expiry of 3 days from arrival of the vehicle at the final destination, whichever is earlier. So policy ends with unloading or expiry of 3 days, whichever is earlier. This comfort is provided to every transporter firm who is taking this policy, because this carrier's legal liability insurance policy is covering the entire journey period from point of origin to point of destination, and also covering in additionally the loading part at the point of origin and unloading part of the point of discharge within 3 days after arrival of the vehicle. This is the cover duration. I think sufficient elaboration is there. Now, how the premium rate will be determined of this policy? So the premium rate will depend upon 3 factors. 1, gross vehicle weight, that is called GVW. 2, limit of indemnity, that will be decided by the transporter firm. 3rd, add-on covers, which will be selected by the transporter firm. Now GVW of every vehicle, whatever number of vehicle the transporter firm is using, whether they are owned or hired by them, the GVW of all those vehicles can be checked from the RC of those vehicles. That is clearly mentioned what is the GVW of the vehicle. Limit of indemnity has to be selected by the transporter firm, because only the transporter firm knows, carrier firm knows what is their turnover, what limit of indemnity they need for the complete 1 year under this policy. And all firms have the different limit of indemnity, because it depends upon the number of vehicles they are using for their own trade. So limit of indemnity is better known by them only. You cannot suggest, you can only guide them that whatever is your turnover, and that your turnover may be likely to increase this year or decrease this year, and it is not necessary that you should consider or you should take the previous year's turnover only. No, you are at liberty. If you think your business is going to increase this year, you may take the expected turnover amount. If you have planned to reduce the number of vehicles and your business is going down this year, you can reduce the turnover also. So reduced turnover can be taken as the limit of liability. This is totally, absolutely free choice of the transporter firm or the insured. So Add-on is also as per his choice. After that, the insurance company will consider certain discount and loadings on the basis of the merit. And the merit is what type of vehicles is the transporter firm is using, whether they are closed body, trailers, refrigerator, tankers, or others. How big the fleet he is having, what is the previous claim history, how good is the condition of his vehicles, what type of cargo is carrying, because certain transporters are engaged in carrying the specific cargo only. Say for example, some are having the tie-up with oil depots, some are having with cement depots, some are having with textile depots, like that. So they are carrying the specific cargo only. Now compulsory access. This policy provides 2% of the claim amount subject to minimum rupees 5,000 per each and every loss. That means if at all there is any claim on this policy registered with the insurance company and settled the claim, 2% of the claim amount will be deducted from each claim amount. This may differ in case of terrorism, because terrorism is a risk which is not directly governed by the insurance companies, so that is governed by the terrorism pool. So this is the method of rating under this policy. Now policy of a little general exclusions. Little in the sense, most of the risks are covered under the motor insurance policy only, because vehicle is carrying the goods. So if there is any loss to the vehicle, that is not covered under this policy. If there is any loss to any third party, that is not covered under the carrier's legal liability policy. If there is any loss to the third party property damage or third party property, that is also paid by the motor insurance policy only. Why? Because this own damage, third party property damage are covered under the motor package policy as per the provisions of India Motor Vehicle Act and tariff. So this liability is transferred to the motor insurance policy. That is the reason that every vehicle which is used for this purpose must be comprehensively insured under a motor package policy. And that motor package policy should continue throughout the policy period of carrier's legal liability. Most important aspect. Contractual liabilities are not covered, and goods belonging to servants, agents or subcontractors of the transporter firm is also not covered, because that is their personal goods. Policy name is liability policy. In personal goods there could not be any liability. Rot and strike risk is not covered, but this can be insured on additional premium, that is under add-on cover. Terrorism risk is an add-on, optional as per the choice of the insured. Inherent defect or vice depends upon the items or the material or the cargo or the merchandise carried. Means in the vehicle, if the fruits are carried, vegetables are carried, sweets are carried, milk products are carried, they don't have the longer life. These are all perishable items. They may get decay over a period of time. After certain days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, depending upon the life of a fruit or vegetable, they will start perish. They will decay. So because of this factor, that is called inherent defect, if any loss or damage is there, insurance company will not pay any compensation under the carrier's legal liability insurance policy, because this is not an accidental loss. Consequential losses are not covered. Consequential losses means if due to market fluctuation, if the price fluctuation, if the delay has caused any loss, that is again excluded. Documentary exclusion. Say for example, if a truck is carrying the goods, say full of fruits, it is going from one place to another place, or you can say one state to another state, But the transporter firm is having only the state permit for that vehicle. So it's a violation of the RTO laws, traffic laws, or the laws of the states. So the moment the vehicle is entering into the boundary of another state, they can stop it, they can check it, they can impose the penalty and fine also, they can seize the vehicle also. If the fitness certificate is not there, still the transporter firm has violated the law. So under such circumstances, the insurance company will not pay the claim, because the transporter firm who is engaged in this business, they are better knowing what documents are required while the vehicle is carrying the goods from one place to another place. So these are the basic things. Transporter firm must know all these things. If at all there is any loss or damage, what is the duty of the insured? The first duty is to intimate the loss immediately to the insurance company. This is important from various reasons. Point number one. If the loss is only to the vehicle or to any third person or to the owner cum driver, this is beyond the coverage of the carrier's legal liability policy. If the loss is to the goods or commodity or the cargo, carrier's legal liability policy will pay the claim. But for that reason, the insurance company will get the loss physically verified. And the physical verification is possible only when the authorized person, that is surveyor, qualified person, licensed person, is reaching to the spot, inspecting the loss, checking the documents, taking the photographs of the damaged goods, finding the actual reasons, and then assessing the actual valuation of the loss. So that process is must. Then only the claim will be settled. So the first requirement is the insured must intimate the loss to the insurance company immediately. Then only the claim will be admitted. Because insurance company will come into action, they will check the policy, they will find the coverage of the policy, and they will appoint the insurance surveyor. He will rush immediately to the spot, he will physically verify the losses, and then will submit his report. On that basis only the claim will be settled. So immediate intimation will play the lead role, because otherwise, if the physical loss is not verified or removed from that place, or the goods is removed from that place, or it is taken away from him in that place, maybe there are circumstances like suppose the entire goods is burnt, or the vehicle is fallen into the river. That kind of situations may also be there. Again, the surveyor will find out the reasons, whether it is possible or not under these circumstances. If it is, he will submit the reasons in his report. But for settlement of claim, the insured has to submit certain specific documents which are not part of other policies. Because here, first of all, the motor package policy is required. It will be cross-checked whether at that time the vehicle which was carrying the goods was comprehensively insured or not. And this package policy was valid or not. Vehicle registration will be checked. If the goods was carried under any agreement, then the letter of agreement will be checked. Certificate of registration is required for that purpose. This registration certificate and certificate of registration are two different things. See, registration certificate of the vehicle is issued by the RTO. That is a full proof that the vehicle has been registered by the RTO authorities. Now it is a vehicle which can fly across the country. or the certificate of registration is issued by the Transport Department under the Carriage by Road Act 2007 to authorize the transporter firm to engage in the transportation business. This transportation business needs the certification, and this certificate is called certificate of registration. So if at all you are entering into the office of any transporter firm or carrier firm, you will find this kind of certificate is displayed in their offices. Now, fitness certificate of that vehicle is required. Detail of the incident have to be filled up in the claim form, and two specific documents called goods receipt and goods forward note will be cross-checked. Now, this goods receipt is a very popular document that is called Liability, GR, or goods receipt. This is the only document issued by the transporter firm to the owner of the goods, wherein the complete detail of that goods is provided. What is the item, what is the quantity, what is the weight, how much is the cost, where from this will go, when it will go, on what date it will go, like that. Who is the owner? This entire brief detail is given in one-page document that is called goods receipt. And if you want to find the total value of the goods carried in one truck, you have to sum the total of GRs. Another document is goods forward note. What goods was forwarded in that vehicle from one place to another place, the item-wise details you can find in this note. So what the surveyor will do if there is any claim, he will check the GR as well as the goods forward note, where he will cross-verify whether this item was certainly sent or not. And if it was sent, to whom it belongs, how much loss is there, how the loss has taken place. All these things will be supported by surveyor in his report. So these are the basic documents which are required at the time of claim. But if you want to give this policy to any of the broker firm or any of the transport firm, carrier firm or logistic firms, you need certain basic or bare minimum requirements. That is to find from the transporter firm what are the number of vehicles they are having, what are their GVWs as per RC, what limit of indemnity they want to select, what add-on covers they want to select, because we have only two. But least I can tell is they want to take both, one or none. What is the type of vehicle body they are using? Maybe closed body, tanker, trailer, refrigerated vehicles. What is the age of these vehicles? Age can be found from the RC also, because date of registration is always there. Date of manufacturing is always there in the RC. What type of cargo they are carrying? Because transporters are not certain whether any vehicle will carry any specific item only. If they have any kind of agreement, then they can say. Otherwise, normally they are using the mixed kind of transport items. Mixed kind means anything. Edibles, wearables, furniture fixtures, electronic gadgets, anything. All type of cargo can be carried. What the past claim history, and whether they need a single policy or a fleet policy. This is the basic or bare minimum requirement of the detail you will provide to the underwriter, and on the basis of this they will provide you the codes to issue the policy. But when you want to give this policy to any of the firm, you must guide them to take the fleet policy, because they must be having the good number of vehicles, even 5, 6, 10, whatever they are having. Fleet policy will serve their purpose. Secondly, you guide them to take a package policy for all those vehicles, maybe their own vehicles or hired vehicles. Third, the motor policy should not discontinue. If at all it is expired, it should be renewed immediately. And fourth, we can tell them any type of cargo they can use except the contraband items. Now the contraband items means items which are not permitted by law. Say for example, liquor, drugs, certain specific species of animals. These are contraband items. Otherwise, in all cases, they can carry from one place to another place. Additionally, this is an important question never always asked. If the transport firm is engaged in carrying the goods from one place to another place, why not they are taking the transit policy instead of carriers legal liability policy? So there is a difference in these two policies. Carriers legal liability policy covers liabilities, whereas the marine policy or marine transit policy covers the property or goods or cargo. Carriers legal liability protects carriers against their legal liability claims arising due to the damage of transport goods. But marine policy will indemnify the consignor or consignee only, that is buyer or seller only, for the loss or damage to the goods. So if the buyer is taking, if the consignor is taking, consignee is taking, seller is taking, marine transit policy is fine. But here, in this case, when carriers legal liability insurance with the transporter firm, the transporter is not the owner of those goods which he is transporting from one place to another place. He has no ownership over that goods. He is only a custodian. Goods is in his custody for the period he is taking from the owner and issuing a GR till it is delivered to the place of the person he has guided. So for that short period, he is only a custodian. He is not the owner of that goods. So he cannot take the marine transit policy. Second thing is, under insurance is not applicable to this policy. Under insurance is neither applicable to the motor insurance nor to the carrier legal liability insurance. The reason in motor insurance is all motor vehicles, maybe two-wheeler, three-wheeler, four-wheeler, MSD vehicles or whatever they are insured on the basis of the IDV, that is called insured declared value. So that IDV means there is a certain percentage of depreciation is there every year, which is deducted from the ex-showroom price of that vehicle. So that is the market value of that vehicle. That is the ultimate liability of the insurance company. That is the sum insured of that vehicle. Because that value is reducing every year. So IDB is the basis of determining the sum insured. The ship cannot be underinsured. And even slight variation could be there, 5%, 10%. That's all. And this carrier's legal liability policy, the under insurance is also not applicable. For the reason, the transport firm or the carrier firm is not at all having any ownership of any of the goods. They don't even know what is the actual value of these goods. They know the value whatever is given by the owner of the goods in the GR. So since they are not aware, there is no question of under insurance in this policy. Now, how to decide the sum insured of this policy, that is important. Because sum insured will be the liability under this policy. And the liability will be paid by the policy on the basis of two things, that is AOA and AOY. This is the limit subject to policy deductibles. So AOA and AOY, both the things are required. This is the sum insured of the policy. Now AOA means any one accident and AOY means any 1 year. So to decide this AOA and AOY, insured is better person who knows what is his turnover, what could be the maximum loss limit in any one accident. So this simple example is given here. You can repeatedly read it and understand it. Very simple it is. Say suppose one transport firm is having 5 tankers. They are having an agreement with the Hindustan Petroleum firm. Their duty is to take the petrol or diesel from the depot and to deliver to the distributors. Now the full tankers are going from the depot to the distributors. Now suppose one tanker is overturned, burnt, leaked, accidented, or anything happened to it. What could be the maximum liability in one incident? That could be determined easily by two things. One, what is the maximum carrying capacity of this tanker? Say suppose 5,000 liters. 2, what is the per liter oil rate? Say suppose 100 rupees. So if this tanker is overturned, burnt, leaked, sinked, accidented, whatever happens, and the entire goods carried by this tanker is damaged, leaked or burned, the maximum liability under the carrier's legal liability policy of the insurance company would be 5,000 into 100 is equal to 5 lakh rupees. So this is called AOA, means any one accident limit. How to determine the AOY? Say suppose 5 tankers are there. One accident limit is 5 lakh rupees. 5 into 5 tanker, 25 lakh rupees. Into 365 days. Whatever comes, that should be the AOY. Maximum possibility of losses is this much only, not more than that. So that is the total turnover of that firm. This is an easiest example just because this is a tanker case. Normally, transporter firms are carrying the mixed goods. There again, they are well aware in one commercial vehicle how much cost of goods is there. Because even the different items have certain values that is mentioned in the GRs. So the total of that GR would be the total liability of that vehicle. If the entire goods is damaged. So that is the way how this sum insured will be decided in AOA and AOY pattern. Now the premium rate depends upon the cargo. Suppose this petrol or diesel is carried. So this is highly inflammable item. Highly risky also. So the rate could be 1% of the sum insured. But in other normal cases like furnitures, like metal items, like vegetables or other non-hazardous items, the rate could be 15 paisa, 20 paisa, 25 paisa, depending upon the nature of goods. Now the most important aspect of this policy is not mandatory by any law. But without this policy, no transporter firm, no carrier firm, no logistic firm can run their businesses. Because when the job or the business or the trade is to carry the goods from one place to another place on every day basis, all vehicles are used for this purposes only. Anything can happen any day with any vehicle, or any amount of loss could also take place. So this is also likely that the losses paid by the transporter firm exceeds the total earning of that transporter firm in 1 year. In that case, without this policy, he cannot survive. The problem is when you are going to sell this policy to any of the carrier firm or transporter firms, he may say to you, we are 10 years old firm, 20 years old firm, we are already having this kind of policy from this and this company. That is fine, nothing wrong, because we are the new entrant. We have got this policy 2-3 years back only. So once you enter into the transporter firm, you get the release.
It's okay now. It's okay now.
Is it okay now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So once you get this confirmation, nothing wrong. When you are taking the entry into their firm, that means you can have the opportunity to get motor business as well as carriers legal liability insurance business. And under both the circumstances, you are the winner. Because this is a win-win situation to you. Every year these policies, motor policies as well as the CLL policies, renewable. It all depends upon your bonding with the carriers or transporters or logistic firm. So this is the policy. Now you can ask any questions relating to it. 5 minutes to you. If you have any questions, your doubts, I'll clear your doubts. Thereafter, we will begin the test of these two products, IAR as well as carrier serial liability.
Sir,
Any questions? Yes.
Regarding this marine policy.
One by one. Yes, Mr. Bharat. Yes.
Yes, sir. I have a question regarding CLL and marine. If the person has taken an insurance, marine insurance of his consignment, and there is a CLL policy also with the transporter. If the goods amount is 5 lakh rupees, so will he get from insurance company from his marine policy or CLL policy?
He has got both the rights. Since he has got an insurance, he can claim the compensation from the insurance company. But he can claim from either of them because he has been indemnified. If the insurance company has paid the loss, whatever loss or damage he has suffered in his goods, he has got the compensation. Now you have to give the subrogation letter to the insurance company. Insurance company may or may not exercise this right to recover against the transporter firm. If he is not claiming from the insurance company, he can take it from the transporter firm also. Either way, he has to get the compensation. But obviously, when the insurance policy is taken, he will first prefer to take the claim from insurance company.
But sir, he can take this contribution, we can apply contribution here?
Contribution is applicable to insurer, not to insurer to transporter.
But sir, if there is a CLL policy from other company and marine policy from other company, so he can take this under contribution or what?
No need of contribution. If the marine transit policy claim is taken, insured has got the compensation. That's all.
Okay, he is eligible
It
for
means
either from the marine or
no. My point. Listen to the point. Marine transit policy had paid the claim. It means he will not get the claim under the carrier's legal liability. Transporter will not be paid anything under the carrier's legal liability. Carrier's legal liability policy will pay the claim to the transporter. Marine policy will pay the compensation to the owner of the goods. There is no question of contribution.
In marine policy, so CLL policy में सब claim ले पाएगा नहीं ले पाएगा, वो तो marine policy उसको नुकसान हुआ ही नहीं क्योंकि marine policy से claim ले लिया उसने.
But that is all. That is all.
तो CLL में claim नहीं करेगा.
No.
और जो रिकवरी करते हैं सर, हम उससे क्या नाम है, जो रिकवरी का एक वो बनाते हैं नोट ट्रांसपोर्टर के अगेंस्ट, तो वो चीज एप्लीकेबल में वो ले सकता है क्लेम पे?